Hey there folks, I thought I'd make a little review of Rain for you while the credits are running. So, here it comes. I think there are plenty of positives about the game, which would include the simplicity of it for a start. I mean, nobody could argue that it's no big blockbuster game with all the usual tricks and generics and sort of gimmicks. It doesn't have a sort of cast of big characters with big personalities. In fact, it doesn't have hardly any characters and doesn't have hardly any blatant personality to any of the characters, but they still seem to ooze charisma and everything. As well as that, there's an overwhelming sense of emotion and characterization, regardless of there being no speech or any full-on personality, like I said. Another positive, okay, so there are a variety of locations. A couple of them are just the town, which you see a couple of times now and again, but there are plenty of different locations as well, such as the circus, the bridge, the sewers, the church, the factory. You know, there's plenty of things to keep it going, and I like that about it. It makes it very different. There's also the stunning soundtrack, including the vocals that we just heard in the end cinematics. And in the opening cinematics, I'm pretty sure there were some as well. And finally, are the graphics. They're not brilliant. Like I said, this is no big blockbuster game. It probably had a tight budget because it's indie-ish, you know? It's an indie-ish game from Sony, yeah. But for the money it probably had, it has fine. The graphics are fine, you know? They work well and they're not blurry or anything like that. Negatives. Okay, so there are a few negatives. Even though I love this game so much, there are bound to be negatives in every game. So, some of the gameplay is a bit bland and overused. Like, in the last chapter or two, mainly chapter 7, where you're just going around this strange town where the tree roots are, where you have to climb around the tree roots and the buildings and everything. I found that good at first, when it first started happening in the game. But then, half hour later, it's still happening. It's still pretty much exactly the same, you know? So, I found that a bit bland. Yeah. Another negative, not much variety of enemies either. There are quite a few. I mean, considering it's only a short game, maybe this isn't much of a negative, because you don't see them all that much. But towards the end, again, you see the main unknown a little bit too much, I think. Even though he's the master of the enemies, I think. So I think there could have been a few different types of enemies as well. There are... yeah, I think more of the circus could have been shown instead of just the big top. Such as more sideshows, maybe. Maybe there could have been a mini game or two, even if it's just for a trophy or something. Or maybe like emotive scenes with the boy and the girl playing in the sideshows. I think that would have been really nice. Like is shown in loads of movies when a boy and a girl are together and go to a fun fair or carnival or whatever. I think something like that would have been really nice and built upon the relationship a bit more. Also, there's not much replayability. Not really. I've heard that you can play through it a second time and it will have more... there'll be collectibles around the town and everything for you to collect and see little memories of the boy and the girl. So that would be a second playthrough, which I'm personally going to give a go, you know. I'm going to go and try and find all those collectibles, get another trophy or two, find out more about the boy and the girl, because you don't find that much out, except for where they live, sort of. Another negative, the high price. It's £10 for essentially a 5 or 6 hour game, or, you know, roughly that. I think it's too much to pay right now. Once it goes down in price, it'll be a perfect game. Overall, I will give it a 9 out of 10. I loved it so much, and I think other people will too. Although I can see it being one of those games which are just not played that much, even though it's great. Hope you've enjoyed the review.